Hey, what's up, my fearless networking friends? Todd Falcone here. Welcome back to another episode. I want to talk today about how to get better at training your team. Obviously, training is an important thing. People who don't know what to do or how to do it are very unlikely to do it. People that are confused tend to do nothing as well. So a couple thoughts right there as we begin this particular episode. You want to make sure that you're keeping things simple, that you're keeping things easy to understand, easy to access, easy to comprehend. Just think about it. If somebody looks at something and they perceive it to be difficult, if they perceive it to be challenging, hard to understand, then they're not likely to do it. So one question you should be asking yourself when it comes to your trainings is, are you keeping things simple? And a phrase that I started using many years ago, some of you guys have probably heard this phrase, so simple, a 7-year-old could do it, okay? I came up with that phrase because I literally met a 7-year-old that rank advanced 2 times in a network marketing company, where dudes that are in their 40s or 50s couldn't even figure out how to recruit somebody, yet this little girl, 7 years of age, rank advanced twice in a network marketing company. No, she wasn't legally able to be in the company. It was her mother's distributorship, but she's the one that built it. And the philosophy behind that is simplicity, right? She didn't know how to complicate things. She didn't know how to keep how to make it difficult, how to add her own little stuff to the recipe. She just followed the instructions, followed the lead of what she was being taught, and she was being taught the basics. She was being taught the fundamentals. I do think, and I'll say this, even as a network marketing trainer, and have trained and been in the field both for many, many years, I think sometimes we can actually overtrain, believe it or not, because people can get into learning and training and not doing mode. So I would warn you against putting in too many trainings to your team. I know that sounds weird coming from a trainer, right? Like, what are you talking about? You mean I can overtrain the team? Yeah, you can overtrain the team. And I'm not saying training is not vital. It is vital, because training is there to teach people the things that need to be done in order to succeed in this business. But you want to do it in the most simple and easy way possible. One other thing to think about is, how are you delivering the training? I think you need to be delivering the training in a number of different ways or avenues. For example, you can provide training certainly inside of a Facebook group, but there may be people on your team that aren't on Facebook all the time. So having that same training on a training website, for example, or something that's dedicated, maybe it's a Zoom, for example, and that person can more easily access the Zoom. How we communicate the trainings that we're doing to our organization is important. Some people are really great at checking email. Some are not. Some only check their email once every few days, believe it or not. Some people check it once a week. Some people check it daily. Some people check it multiple times a day. So how we get that out there, whether it's email or SMS, text, through social media, I think it's important that we utilize every avenue possible so the communication that we're putting out to our organizations is actually being received in a manner that that person is most likely to consume that information. So just a little thought there. So if you're only emailing information out, maybe it would be good for you to collect their cell phone numbers so that you can send out an SMS or a text message so that they're then able to receive that message. Because sometimes you'll send out a message via email about we were doing this training tonight, and the person doesn't read that email until the very next day because they only check their emails a few times a day, for example, or a few times a week, for example. So that's just another thought. One thing for sure that I would suggest that you do is, in training your organizations, when at all possible, if you incorporate interactive exercises, group discussions, practice, role play, these are all things that actually increase someone's likelihood of retaining a skill. I don't have the exact pyramid of learning memorized in my head at the moment, but if there's I think it is literally called the pyramid of learning, And if we, for example, do lecture, like if we just talk to somebody, or we're a talking head and we're communicating to an individual, there's going to be a specific amount or an approximate level of retention based on that. If we include audio visuals, in other words, if we include slides or something that they can see and hear at the same time, the retention tends to increase. If we have a group discussion around the subject, the retention increases. If we build practice into it, the retention increases. So if we're just talking, that's one element of teaching, right? Teaching and training. But if you incorporate other elements into the picture, you're going to help your people to retain the very skills that you're looking to teach them, but they're not going to retain it at a high level if you're just telling. So anytime that you can actively get people involved, engaged, group discussion, interactive exercises, the use of audio visuals. And another thought for some people that are like, well, I'm not the expert, how can I train? This is something you need to understand. The absolute highest level of the retention of a skill is when you teach what it is that you do know. So even, let's take prospecting, for example, which obviously is a big thing in network marketing. If you don't consider yourself the expert of recruiters, the expert prospector, but you know something about it, if you teach what it is that you do know, not only are the people that know less than you learning something, because they are learning something, because you know more than this new person does. Maybe you're not the expert, but you know something enough to teach them something, maybe not everything. But what it does for you as well is it helps you to even further retain the skill, because the act of actually teaching what it is that you do know actually increases your own personal retention of a skill. So you do want to get better at training your team. You do want to improve the receptivity of the message and the retention of the skill or the concept or idea that it is that you're teaching them. You want them to remember it and to be able to then go out and apply it and teach it as well. So in wrapping this, I guess, fairly short episode up, I would just say, keep your thing, whatever you're doing, keep the thing simple. So simple a 7-year-old could do it. Keep it so it's not confusing. I would say you want to be doing it consistently and regularly, but be wary of overtraining your people. They don't need to have, in my opinion, they don't need to have a training message 7 days a week from you in order for them to figure out and learn how to do network marketing effectively. How you're communicating the message, where are they receiving the message? Are they, if you're letting them know about a training, are they learning about it only through email or only through social media or only through, well, I suppose there's probably not too many people that are only through text. I think what you need to do is be able to communicate that this, let's say this upcoming training is happening in as many ways as possible so that the masses in your organization, I know you want masses in your organization, that means large amounts of people, are actually receiving the message. And then how you're providing the training, like I mentioned earlier, not everybody is super big on social media. Sure, I realize that most people are, but then what about the people that aren't? I know very, very successful people that are pretty much never on Facebook because they just kind of think it's a waste of time. Maybe in the business that they're in, it is a waste of time, right? So they're never there. So now that they've joined you in a network marketing endeavor and they're barely on Facebook, they're very unlikely to be even accessing your information. So providing your training on, whether it's in a Facebook group, maybe it's also on a Zoom, maybe it's on your team's training website, and then the incorporation of getting people engaged, getting people involved. The more it shouldn't be a one-way training. In other words, it shouldn't be just the person telling and talking and saying. It should be, let's get people involved. I can tell you, I grew up in a culture where when we did trainings, we did Saturday trainings. We didn't even call them Super Saturdays because they were every Saturday. So I guess they were just our Saturday trainings. And in every single Saturday training, we had at least a couple of hours of people getting active and people being involved. We were doing exercises. We were role playing. We were, learning how to demonstrate our products and walking through product demonstrations in an environment where we could learn from that experience, so that when we were out to go out there and demonstrate our products in real life, we were prepared for it. rather than this is how you demonstrate a product and step 1, step 2, step 3, good luck. Which is fine from the standpoint of like, okay, I did something, but you're not really enabling your people to fully comprehend, understand, and be able to implement in an effective manner what it is you're teaching, because it's literally one small element, when really teaching and training involves multiple elements, which one of those things is involvement, engagement, group discussion, getting people active and doing something. Plus, the other thing about that, I guarantee this, it'll make your trainings more fun. It'll make them, it'll make the day seem like how's the day over already, versus you do a Saturday training from 9 to 4 and you got people twiddling in their seats because they're just getting uncomfortable because they've been sitting, staring at somebody on the stage for X amount of hours. Getting them off the butts of their seats and doing exercises and doing things that help them to solidify that skill is going to be very impactful. So just a couple ideas for you on doing some better trainings for your team. Implement this stuff. It's important. It's going to help your team to understand what it is that you do, what they do in network marketing each and every day, which is going to help everyone earn more. So if you're on my YouTube channel, what's up, YouTubers? If you are on my podcast and listen to me on audio, thank you so much. The rest of this episode, details on this episode, other free downloads, things that will help you build your business, are on my website right here on this episode, toddfalcone.com/episode 144. Again, toddfalcone.com/episode 144. We'll see you next time.